This incident dates back to February 1948, and the location was roughly the same area where Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 was last seen on radar in 2014, the Strait of Malacca. This narrow stretch of sea lies between Malaysia and Indonesia, and thousands of commercial ships pass through it every day. On that day, the weather was perfectly clear. The sea was calm, and the wind was peaceful, just like any ordinary day. Several American and British merchant ships were traveling through the area. Everything seemed normal, until suddenly, multiple ships received a strange radio signal. Once again, welcome to Factify TV. The unusual signal was transmitted in Morse code. Although Morse code is an old-school communication method, it is far more reliable than voice transmissions. Normally, voice signals over radio depend heavily on distance and atmospheric conditions such as fog, dust, humidity, and line of sight. When interference occurs, voice messages often fade or reach the receiver with heavy distortion. In contrast, Morse code consists of dots and dashes, which can be decoded at the receiving end into complete English sentences. Its biggest advantage is that it can be transmitted across thousands of kilometers, even through severe atmospheric interference. The Morse code signal received in the Strait of Malacca began like this: 3 dots, 3 dashes, then 3 dots, repeated twice, followed by a long sequence of dots and dashes. When decoded, the opening message read, SOS SOS. The full translation of the message was, SOS SOS. This is the steamship SS Ourang Medan, requesting immediate contact with a ship equipped with shortwave wireless. Doctor urgently needed. This was the first message. Without any delay, a second message followed. Possibly the second officer is dead. Other crew members are also dead. Medical advice not required. SOS. Immediate assistance requested from a warship. After this message, the Ourang Medan transmitted its coordinates, followed by a final message, one that appeared incomplete. It simply read, I die. Then, silence. Radio operators on nearby ships immediately responded, but no reply ever came. Minutes passed, and the silence continued. It became clear to everyone who had received the message that something horrific had happened. Aboard the SS Ourang Medan, the nearest ship was an American merchant vessel named Silver Star. Its captain decided to head toward the coordinates where the signal originated. The ship changed course and moved rapidly toward the Ourang Medan. Initially, the captain assumed the ship might be sinking or had been attacked. After several hours of travel, the Silver Star reached the location and spotted a merchant ship through binoculars. As they approached closer, the crew was stunned. The SS Ourang Medan appeared completely intact. There was no visible damage, no signs of flooding, and no indication of an attack. It was simply floating silently on the water. What was strange was that despite being a steam-powered ship, no smoke was coming from its chimney. Even more disturbing, there was no movement on deck. A massive ship, completely silent. The captain of the Silver Star was confused. He made repeated announcements over the loudspeaker and sounded the ship's horn, but only the sound of ocean waves answered. Finally, the captain ordered a rescue team to board the ship and uncover the mystery. When the rescue team boarded the Ourang Medan, they felt an unnatural coldness inside, and an eerie silence filled the ship. Soon, they encountered the first dead body. This was no ordinary corpse. The man's face was frozen in terror. His eyes were wide open, his mouth stretched as if screaming. His body was stiff, and his arms were extended forward, as though he had been trying to fend something off. As if he had witnessed something utterly horrifying in his final moments, the team moved further. They found more bodies scattered across the deck. The captain was dead in his position. The officers were dead on the bridge. Even the ship's dog was dead. The dog's death was equally unnatural, stiff, mouth open, frozen in what looked like an aggressive posture. The most shocking detail, none of the bodies showed any wounds. There were no signs of injury, no blood, no evidence of a struggle or fight. Just the same expression of sheer terror on every face. When the rescue team reached the radio room, they found the body of the radio operator, the same person who had sent the distress messages. His fingers were still resting on the Morse key, exactly as they would have been when he transmitted the final words, I die. At this point, the Silver Star crew was certain that something highly abnormal had occurred. No physical injuries, no signs of violence, yet everyone was dead. Seemingly from overwhelming fear, they decided to tow the ship to the nearest port for further investigation. But just as they began securing the towing ropes, smoke started rising from cargo hold number 4. At first, it was light smoke, but within moments, flames erupted. The fire spread so rapidly that the rescue team had no choice but to abandon ship. They jumped back into their lifeboats and raced toward the Silver Star. Moments after they escaped, the SS Ourang Medan exploded violently, scattering debris across the sea. Within minutes, the mysterious ship sank into the ocean depths, taking all its secrets with it. No physical evidence remained. Only the testimony of the Silver Star crew, who had witnessed the entire event. Due to the lack of evidence, many people dismissed the incident as a fabricated story, while others developed conspiracy theories. Some researchers claimed that no ship named SS Ourang Medan was ever officially registered. Lloyd's Register of Shipping, which records vessels worldwide, contained no record of such a ship. However, researchers who believe the incident was real argue that this was the immediate post-World War II era, when many ships sailed under fake names or were never registered at all. The Ourang Medan may have been involved in illegal activities, which could explain the lack of registration. In 1954, Dutch newspapers published articles detailing the incident, including interviews with individuals who claimed to have previously worked aboard the ship. Some crew members stated that the Ourang Medan was involved in smuggling illegal cargo, which would explain why it was never officially registered. Attempts to trace the ship's owner failed due to lack of evidence. Years later, in 2003, the CIA declassified secret documents, including a file related to the SS Ourang Medan. One letter dated May 29, 1958, sent to the CIA, detailed the entire incident and stated, "I believe that if the tragedy of the SS Ourang Medan is solved, it will provide answers to many other mysterious disappearances of aircraft and ships." It remains unclear whether the CIA conducted any investigation, but the letter remained classified for 45 years before being released. It is still available on the CIA's website today. The most widely accepted and logical theory is that the ship was carrying dangerous chemical cargo. World War II had just ended, and countries like Japan and Germany possessed deadly chemical weapons. It is believed the ship may have been smuggling chemicals such as potassium cyanide or nitroglycerin. Experts explain that when seawater mixes with potassium cyanide, it can produce an extremely toxic gas that causes immediate suffocation upon inhalation, explaining why the bodies showed no external injuries. Nitroglycerin, on the other hand, is highly explosive and can detonate if improperly stored, possibly explaining the fire and explosion witnessed by the rescue team. Another theory suggests the ship was transporting materials related to Unit 731, a notorious Japanese military unit responsible for horrific biological experiments on humans. After Japan's defeat, the United States reportedly sought to relocate these scientists. The ship may have been carrying secret biological weapons or chemicals, and a leak could have wiped out the entire crew. Because it was a secret operation, the ship may never have been registered. The fact that the dog died in an aggressive, frozen posture suggests it may have sensed something terrifying, leading some to believe the incident has supernatural elements. The true fate of the SS Ourang Medan remains buried deep beneath the ocean. While we can only speculate, the chemical leak theory remains the strongest explanation. This incident is one of the many reminders that the ocean still holds countless secrets. Even today, when ships pass through the Strait of Malacca, old sailors remember the haunting story of the SS Ourang Medan, a tale that reminds us that no matter how advanced humanity becomes, we remain powerless before nature and fate. Thank you for watching this video on Factify TV. Please like, share, and comment. See you in the next amazing video.